Are you ready to crochet your new favorite cardigan? I'm Marley Bird, your BiCrafty Bestie, and I'm here to show you how. Let's go.
Show me love, show me love. This is all we got. Show me love.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel, your one-stop shop for everything knitting and crochet to help you become a better crafter. In this video, I am showing you how to make this lovely crochet cocoon cardigan. This is the You Are Valued crochet cardigan. I designed this piece after everybody fell in love with the Know Your Worth knit cardigan because my crocheters needed to have something too. So what you will find here is the exact same construction, similar stitch pattern, and a nice big shawl collar that you can choose to close with a shawl pin, or you can absolutely remove that and just have a nice open cardigan to wear. This pattern is so much fun and it's super duper beginner friendly. So whether you are a brand new crocheter ready to venture into garments that are just a little bit beyond a blanket, or you're an experienced crocheter ready to make your next favorite cardigan, I have the pattern for you. You can find this pattern over at marleybird.com. I've put a link in the video description box right down there below. In that pattern, you will find the written instructions, a chart, links to a whole bunch of videos that you might need, and of course, you'll have all of the materials. Speaking of materials, I'm sure you noticed that the colorway on this cardigan is absolutely stunning. And that is because the jewel spun yarn by Sirdar is absolutely gorgeous and it lends itself to a beautiful colorway with this stitch pattern. This color here is called Turquoise Sky, but there are so many other jewel spun colors you could choose from. Let me show you a few. The Sirdar company was nice enough to send me a bunch of their yarns so that way I could show you guys all of the color possibilities with this beautiful yarn. And this is only some of them, you guys. I mean, look at these colors. They are absolutely stunning. I'm going to point out this one first because this is what I made the Know Your Worth cardigan in. This color here is called Golden Green, and it's not to be confused with this color here called Evening Jade. This one here has more purples and turquoises in it, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Of course, if you wanted to have something a little bit more mild and browns and blacks and grays, this is your go-to colorway. It's called Crystal Quartz. This would be absolutely stunning in this pattern. I'm telling you, it'd be great. All right, for all of my pink fans out there, come on. This is Glowing Garnet. This color is absolutely to die for. Oh my gosh, it's so darn pretty. This one here, this just screams jewel tones to me. It is called Midnight Fords, and it is I have no words, you guys. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, use this yarn to make this cardigan, wear it with a black top and some black slacks, and you have an outfit for the night out on the town. I mean, it would be absolutely stunning. Then, of course, we have this beautiful oranges and pinks and reds. This colorway is called Sunstone Amber, and it is equally just as pretty. If you are a fan of orange yarns and you really like gravitate to this color, this hue, this would be just great. And then last but not least, obviously, the Turquoise Sky. Those are only a few of the jewel spun yarns you could choose to make this cardigan out of, and you will have a beautiful cardigan no matter which one you choose. Besides the yarn, you will also need a size J or a 6mm crochet hook or whatever size you need to get gauge. You will need some stitch markers, of course, a bent tip tapestry needle to weave in your ends and to seam together the minimal seaming that is on this piece. And then we have a good pair of scissors. And last but not least, like I mentioned, if you wanted to use a shawl pin, you absolutely could do this. I love these shawl pins. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I'll be sure to put a link in the video description box below in case you want to check these out. They are from Indian Lake Artisans. They're absolutely gorgeous. If you're ready to get started, grab that pattern, grab your yarn, grab your hook, and all of the little extras that you could possibly need for this pattern. Join me back here and I will get you started on the stitch pattern, how you're going to construct this cocoon cardigan. We'll talk about the collar and the join as you go method, and you will be off to the races making your very own huggable wearable. We begin with the foundation single crochet for this project because we want the elasticity of our beginning row to match that of our ending row. So it's important that we begin with the foundation single crochet. If you've never done it before, let me show you how to do it. We will begin with a slip knot on our hook. So begin with a slip knot, and then you will chain 2 stitches. 1, 2. In that first chain you did, or the second chain from hook, however you want to think about it, insert your hook right into that chain, okay? And then yarn over and pull up a loop. That loop you just pulled up is going to become a chain, okay? Even though this looks like you're on your way to making a single crochet, we want to create a chain right here into that first loop. So what you will do is you will yarn over and draw through 1. It's at this point you will take a stitch marker and put it right into that chain you just created. That's going to help you know exactly where your next stitch is going to have to be completed, okay? Now we have 2 loops on our hook, and this is where we will complete our single crochet. So you yarn over and draw through 2. So to start the next one, we're going to come over here to that stitch I had you mark. You're going to go into the chain and try and get through 2 loops, okay? It's tricky at the start, but then you'll get used to it. You want to go underneath 2 loops of your chain, okay? It just makes the edge a lot easier to seam. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Again, that first loop is going to become a chain. So you will yarn over and draw through 1. Take your marker and move it up into that chain you just created, so that way you know where you're going to create your next stitch. Yarn over, draw through 2. So here we go. Into our marked stitch, which is a chain. I went under, so I have 2 loops. Yarn over, draw through those. Yarn over, draw through 1. Move the marker up, yarn over, draw through 2. Let's do that one more time together. Go into your marked chain. Make sure you have two of those legs. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, draw through 1. Move your marker up. Yarn over, draw through 2. You'll see here you're getting a nice stretchy start right here. Go ahead and complete the number of foundation single crochets you need to make for the size you are making. Once you've reached the number of foundation single crochets you need, go ahead and leave that marker down there at the bottom, so that way you can quickly identify what is the bottom of your row here to begin with, because it's really easy to get disoriented. We will go ahead and we will turn our work and chain 1. You can chain 1 and turn as well, it doesn't really matter. And it's at this point we want to work half double crochets into each of the stitches that we just created all the way down. So we're just going to work half double crochets into each single crochet all the way down. If you don't know how to do a half double, you yarn over your hook to begin with, just like so. Go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, draw through all 3. When you get to the end of your row, take a second, go back and count all of your stitches. Make sure you have the correct stitch count. Then you will go ahead and chain 1 and turn, or turn and chain 1, whichever one you want to do. And it's at this point we will be doing single crochets into the back loop of those stitches we just did. So if you're looking at your work just like so, you can see it kind of looks like you have a loop right here, a loop right there, and then one in the very back. We want the one all the way back here, and we will work a single crochet. So come to the all the way in the back and work a single crochet. All the way in back, working that single crochet. What that's doing is it's leaving this front loop, the front loop right there and the one down here, it's leaving them open, and it gives the illusion of a V right there. That is the very nice subtle line that you get in this fabric. It's created by working single crochets in the back loop of these half doubles. And it just looks really great, okay? At the end of the row, your work should look just a little something like this. And it's at this point we will turn our work and complete a stacked double crochet. So you turn your work, you do not chain. Go into the top of that first single crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and then just right here, that stitch that you just created, just pierce your hook right through the middle of it, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and draw through 2. That is a stacked double crochet. It's at this point we're going to continue with the V-stitch. So we're going to skip 1 stitch and we're going to work 2 double crochets in the next stitch, okay? So you skip 1 and work 2 double crochets in the next. Do not put a chain between them, just work 2 double crochets. Skip 1, 2 double crochets in the next. Skip 1, 2 double crochets in the next. And you will do this all the way down until you get to the very last single crochet, and you will work a double crochet in the very last stitch of the row. Once you've reached the end of that row, we will turn our work, and again we start off with a stacked double crochet. So you complete 1 single crochet, and then you work right through the middle of that one and work another one. And it's at this point, you won't skip right here in the beginning. You're going to go between these 2 double crochets of the V-stitch, go between them, and you will create 2 doubles. So there's 1 and 2. You do not work a chain or anything else. You will skip this space right there between that double and that one. And right here, these 2 doubles that were the V-stitch, the next one over, go right between them and complete another V-stitch, so 2 doubles. Okay, we're going to do this all the way across, and be very careful. Make sure you don't accidentally put a V-stitch in the wrong place, meaning, let me get myself some more yarn here. Do not accidentally put it like right here. It always goes in the middle of the V-stitches, okay? We're working in the middle of those V-stitches all the way down. When you get to the end of the row, you will end with a double crochet into that very first double crochet, and you have some work that looks like this. Pretty nice, right? Okay, let's move on to the next row. We will turn our work and chain 1, or chain 1 and turn, it doesn't matter. And now we want to work half double crochets all the way down this row, okay? So we'll work half double crochets all the way down. So into each of these stitches, just work your half doubles. When you get to the end of this row, you should have the exact same number of stitches that you had when you started. And now you will turn and chain 1, or chain 1 and turn. And we are back to row 2 where we did the single crochets through the back loop only. So we turn, go to the back loop of those half doubles, right? And work our single crochets all the way down. And that's it, you guys. That's the pattern for the entire cardigan. You just continue working this 4-row repeat, and you get this really beautiful stitch pattern. Once you finish that single crochet row, you can set it down, and it's here you can begin to see where your pattern is beginning to take shape. And it's just those 4 rows that you continue repeating for the entire cardigan. It's really that easy. I was not lying when I said this is a very crochet beginner friendly pattern. Now, as you're working on this, you do want to make sure you're not accidentally getting tighter as you create your stitches. So make sure you pause every now and again and measure your work in progress to make sure that it's still on track to be the same measurement as it is in the schematic. And I will give you a little tip. It's okay to be a little bit bigger than the schematic, but I would not go any smaller than the schematic, okay? If you have a fabric that's smaller, when you go to wear your cardigan, it's not going to really like fit over your bust and feel like it's kind of snuggly. It's going to feel like it's more of a shrug than a cocoon. So it's better to have it a little bit bigger. I mean, you could go as big as like 10 inches wider if you wanted to. But the measurements that we have chosen for this cardigan, they tend to be the most perfect sizing. I've made so many cardigans with these measurements, and they tend to be the most perfect size that we've experienced. But I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. It's better to be a little bit bigger versus a little bit smaller. Once you have crocheted the fabric to the correct length, not just the width, it's at that point you would work one more row of single crochets across the top of your project. Once you get the full rectangle of your cardigan complete, it's at that point you will work the seaming, which is just some whip stitches together. So let's take a peek at how you would do that. You've completed that final row of single crochets, I highly recommend giving your piece a little bit of a block. So pin it out on a blocking board, spritz it with some water and let it dry, or maybe lightly steam it. It will make the join as you go process for the collar and the cuffs a lot easier if you do that. Once that is all done, you'll have a piece of fabric that looks similar to this, obviously much, much larger. And it's at that point we're ready to seam. Now, what we want to seam together are actually the short edges. So you're going to take your fabric and you will fold it with the wrong sides facing. And you'll know what the wrong side is because you want to be able to see that nice line of V's right there that you created with the single crochet in the back loop only. And once you do that, what will happen is you want to whip stitch together, starting down here at the edge. This is the foundation single crochet edge and your last edge. And you want to just whip stitch this edge together, but you want to leave an opening for the cuff right there, okay? And to whip stitch, it's really just as easy as grabbing your tapestry needle and some yarn. And we're just going to whip these two pieces together. I like to get as close to the corner as I can to start to match up the two corners. And then we really are just going to whip them together, okay? We don't have to do anything super special about it. If you wanted to do a more decorative like single crochet join or a slip stitch join, you could, and that could be a really great design feature, but it is not necessary, okay? Once you get it all seamed together, go ahead and weave in your tail. I'm just going to snip mine off because I can. We're just doing a little swatch here. And I'm going to seam together the opposite side as well. So I'll go to the opposite side, make sure the two ends meet up, and then let's just whip these together quickly. Once the two ends are seamed together, you have a piece that looks like this, right? But as you open up the center, you're going to see that this is your cocoon, right? So these openings here that you left here and here, that's where your cuff goes. And then this right here, that's where your body fits in, right? So it's at this point, this is where you're going to create your collar. Let's talk about the collar. It is made in a join as you go technique. So you work the ribbed collar and you join it to the fabric at the same time. You absolutely could make the collar separate and then seam it to the cocoon cardigan. Or if you're BiCrafty like me and want to do a knitted collar, you could pick up and knit stitches all the way around this opening here and work like a 2x2 collar if you wanted to. But for the join as you go collar that I created for this piece, we are going to join our yarn right here at the corner. We will chain some stitches, and then as we work back, every time we work back towards the piece here, we will join it to these stitches that we have either on the foundation single crochet edge or our final single crochet edge. That's why we have those nice stitches there we get to work into, and it's going to turn out really great. So let's go ahead and see how this is done. For the collar, you will begin at your seam here, and you want to join with a slip stitch. So put your hook in and just join your yarn with a slip stitch. Now the pattern tells you to chain X number of chains. And I will let you know, if you want a larger, more dynamic or drastic collar, chain more than's written in the pattern. It's totally up to you. But go ahead and chain however many stitches is written in the pattern. I'm just going to do a few stitches here. And once you've reached that, we want to then work back in a row of single crochets. But when we get to the end of the row here, we're going to join 2 times to our fabric. One join is going to be to represent the row we were on, and the next join, which will be 1 stitch up, will represent our turning chain. So let's go ahead in the single crochet from, or in the second hook, the second chain from hook, let's single crochet. And we will do this all the way down. Get into that last one there. And then once you've worked all of those single crochets, you're going to go to the, so if I joined right here, I'm going to go to the next stitch up, and I'm going to put my hook in and do a slip stitch. And then I go to the next stitch up from there and I do another slip stitch. So this second slip stitch here takes the place of my turning chain, okay? So now I'm going to turn my work. I do not want to work into that slip stitch or that slip stitch. I want to come down here to the single crochet, and I want to work into the back loop only, and I will work single crochets all the way back. When you get to the end of the row, chain 1 and turn, or turn and chain 1, doesn't matter. And then you're going to work single crochets in the back loop only all the way back. And when you get to the edge of your fabric again, you will join with that slip stitch once again. I'm going to get all the way back here. When you go to join this time, make sure you don't join where you already have a slip stitch. Kind of a good rule of thumb is any of the stitches along the actual body, if there has already been a stitch worked into it, don't go into it again. Go into the next stitch up. So I go to the next stitch up and do a slip stitch. That's the first one. That joins the ribbing I just did to the body. And then I go to the following stitch up, and that takes the place of my turning chain. So I will turn my work. Don't work into either one of those slip stitches. Go down to the single crochet and work back loop only. And just go back and forth. And this is how you make the collar. This is how you do the cuff. It's this very simple ribbing, okay? Can you see how that works up? See how that works up real nice and neat? Now the difference between the collar ribbing and the cuff ribbing is the collar ribbing, you know, we have these nice stitches right here that we can easily work into. And here at the cuff, it's at the edge of our work, so there are no stitches there. So you'll notice that on the cuff, I have you do 1 round of single crochet to begin with, and then create your cuff. And just like the collar, if you want your cuff to be longer, you want to chain more stitches than what is written in the pattern. So for my sample, let me grab it right here. The cuff on the sample is just this nice little cuff right here. But if you wanted this to be double the size, you would double the chain amount, and then you could have a folding cuff. So like this one folds, right? But it's just like this little dainty little fold. If I wanted it to be a full fold, then I would double this up. And you absolutely could do that. You just want to make sure you have enough yarn to do that. Once your collar and cuffs are complete, weave in any tail that you have and your cardigan is all done. Next thing you know, you're gonna throw it on and look like this. Isn't this cardigan amazing? I love it so much. The minute I got it back from my contractor, Tammy, I put it on and I have been in love ever since. I know you're gonna love your cardigan as well. Be sure to share with me on social media as you work on yours. Snap a picture and send it my way. Use hashtag #MarleyBird and I'll be sure to smash your like button and give you all the encouragement you need. All right, everybody, that's it for me, your BiCrafty Bestie. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Show me love.